I woke up on a I can't remember what day it was, but I should. It was after New Year's Eve, and I woke up the next morning. You know, and I probably overindulged on New Year's. I'm sure none of you guys have ever done that. But I woke up and my right eye was kind of blurry when I woke up. I couldn't, and my left eye was just clear as a bell. My right eye was kind of blurry. I just turned 40 that year. You know, you kind of hear when you turn 40, things start to go a little bit. And I thought, well, one eye, not a big deal. And of course, as guys will do, I've just completely blew it off. Didn't even, just went right back to work after the first of the year, tore into it. Didn't even think about it. Actually, didn't really even notice it that much. But I made the mistake of mentioning it to my mom, who was a nurse. So after I did that, she started calling me every day. Have you been to the eye doctor yet? No, Mom, I'll get in there. I'll go. Have you, every day, to the point where I wish I hadn't told her. So she called me at the office and she said, look, you have an appointment Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. with an eye doctor. I'm 40 years old, my mom's making my doctor's appointments. I remember that morning because I was sitting in my office and the appointment was at 10 and it was 9:15 and I'd only been in the office for an hour and a half and I was already 6 hours behind. So I was like, oh God, there's no way I'm going to this today. So I picked up the phone. Before I even got it to my ear, I could see my mom going, what? You didn't go? Oh. Phone. All right, so I went. And I'm sitting in the front of the doctor's office, this optometrist, because it was just a bit of a blurry eye. I'm in the optometrist's office, and I'm actually looking, the wall. They have all the glasses up there in the lobby. I'm going, well, those are kind of cool, and those will probably make me look smart. And I remember looking through the different glasses, trying to pick them out. One of them looked like they were kind of shaded, like sunglasses almost. I was like, those are them. Right on, I'll get those. And the doctor comes out and takes me into the back room. So he takes me back, he sits me down, and he says, well, when was your last eye exam? I said, when I was 6. Which was true, it was never, I could see fine, so I'd never gone. So he says, okay, and he dilated my eyes. And he left the room. And I was sitting in there, and I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes go by, and then, I'm going like this. It's just tracers all over the place. I was just sitting there going, man. He comes back in, and he takes that machine, and he moves it in front of my face, puts it right in front of my eyes, and he goes, and he's looking into my eyes, and, I was still, I don't know, kind of out of it, and all of a sudden he's on the phone. I'm like, I didn't hear the phone ring, but, what do I care? So he's on the phone, he's looking through this big machine, and I hear him going, no, right now, no, immediately, today, like within the next hour. And I'm sitting there going, man, who is he talking about? That guy sounds screwed. And he moves the contraption away from my face, and he looks at me, and he goes, I just made you an appointment across town with a retina specialist. And I didn't even hear what he said after, when he started talking about me. I said, you mean that phone call, that was about me? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, as I told you, I haven't been to the eye doctor since I was 6, but this seems a little out of the ordinary just for a pair of glasses. He goes, no. He said, I wish I could fix what's wrong with you with glasses. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, there's something growing in your eyeball, and it's big enough to the point where it's blocking your vision, and that's why your eye's blurry. And I've got you an appointment with a retina specialist, and you need to get over there right now. And obviously, you completely forgot and dilated my eyes. So my mind is doing backflips. What could be in there? As I'm stumbling out of his office, I can't see. I get in the car, and I know I got to get over there. I mean, the way he made it sounds like my head could explode at any minute. So I'm driving. And I'm literally driving by Braille. I mean, you've heard the term before, brrr, and I'm like, oh man, and I go this way, brrr, back and forth, and I was trying to take the least traveled streets in Bellevue. I made it to the doctor's office, this retina specialist, and I walked in, and as soon as I walked in, the receptionist looks up at me and she goes, oh, we've been expecting you. I'm like, yeah, I know. She hands me a clipboard with a bunch of papers on it. Can you fill this out for us? And I looked down at it, and it's just white. It looked like she was just handing me, paper before it's gone through the copier. And I said, take a look at my eyes. They were marvelous. And she looks up, and she kind of giggles and goes, oh, we'll take care of this. And she takes the thing back. So I sit down. I go through, 2-3 hours of tests. All kinds of different machines, everything. And I was sitting in this doctor's office, the last office I was moved into, and the doctor comes in, and this is just so vivid to me. He comes in, and they've got those stools with the wheels on them, right? They roll around. The guy comes in and like this, boom, hits the stool and rolls up right here. Like he'd been practicing it for years. So I turn, and his face is right here, and I'm like, hi. And he goes, so do you like things sugar-coated? I said, I love things sugar-coated. Coat it up. And he said, well, you've got a malignant tumor in your right eye, and there's a 95% chance it's cancer. I'm like, good thing I asked for the sugar. What would you have done if I hadn't just poked me in the eye? And he said, I don't think you understand what I just told you. Because I was joking. And I said, well, I understand I got a pretty good fight on my hands. Isn't that about right? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, well, what makes you think that, I don't understand what you're telling me? And he said, every person I'm giving this news to, their shoulders droop, they break down, he said, a lot of times they cry. I said, well, the way I look at it is my attitude's about the only thing I've got right now to hang on to, and that there's no way I'm going to let that go. So, I'm a Christian. It's time for me to go. And it's time, but I'm going to fight like hell until that time. So, what do we have to do next? What are my options? So he gave me, because of the Seattle area, the 2 top ocular cancer surgeons in the country. One was at Swedish and one was at the UW. So, within 20 minutes, I got to take my pick of either one. And, you don't know me well, but, sometimes I'm not the nicest guy. So, my mom had been hounding me for a long time. So I drove to their house, and I walked into the kitchen, and my mom, of course, did you go? I'm like, yeah, I went all right. And I've got good news. And she goes, good news? And I go, yeah, I don't need glasses. And she goes, what? You don't need glasses? And I go, no, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need glasses. And she says, well, what is it? And then I'm like, well, you guys better sit down. And so I told them the whole thing, and I ended up going with Swedish Hospital. And I remember, before I went in, it was really weird, and maybe some of you survivors will know this feeling, but I felt like I didn't want anybody to know. Like somehow having cancer reflected badly on me. I just kept thinking about all those times I spent in tanning booths, and everything was just going through my head like this is somehow got to be my fault. I didn't want to tell anyone. And I've always been, well, not always, but as I've, worked hard, I've gotten to the point to where when something is like that you're afraid of or you don't want people to know, you could go the other way. And so I was like, all right, so I pulled out my database of everybody I knew, 900 emails, and I wrote a letter. I said, look, most of you guys don't have a mom that's going to set your doctor's appointment for you at 40 years old. And I tell you, to this day, right now, I would not still have gone. My eye is, if I close this eye, you are the most gorgeous crowd I've ever seen. And I would probably still, my vision is so much worse after, the radiation and everything than it was before. It was just a little bit blocked. I probably still wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for her. That's how a lot of guys are, especially guys. So I wrote this letter, and I sent it out and said, thank God for my mom, she made me go, and I told everything, about it and what I was going to go through. Well, 2 of my guy friends, of course, got the letter and hadn't been at the doctor forever. One of them had been having chest pains and blowing it off. So he got my letter and went to the doctor, and when he got in there, the doctor started to work on him, and he was 95% blocked in one and 90% blocked in the other artery. The doctor said he had maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and he would have had a heart attack, and there was no way he would have survived it. They rushed him right from the doctor's office straight in to angioplasty into surgery. He's still alive today. We're still friends. But it was because I was able to overcome that and write that email and get that out there.